legendary Cold Chisel are back.
Cold Chisel on a good night was probably one of the best rock and roll bands in the world.
Forming in Adelaide in '73, Chisel played every two-bit dive around the country, relying on next week's gigs to pay last week's rent. After finally scoring a record deal with Warner's in 1977, their debut single, K-San, from their self-titled album was banned on every commercial AM radio station in Australia. Regardless, the band grew a fanatical fan base, gig by gig, in sweaty pubs right across the country, playing blistering shows that had become truly legendary. Breakfast at Sweethearts followed in '79. The cover of that album was actually shot right in the very room you're sitting in now. In 1980, the release of East saw them become the biggest band in the land, and their songs became permanent fixtures on the new FM airwaves. But the piss and vinegar remained. After scooping the pool at the Countdown Pop Awards, the band memorably trashed the set and gave a defiant finger to all those who'd ignored them for so many years. Then came their unforgettable album Circus Animals and more endless touring. By '83, the band were coming apart at the seams. They recorded their album 20th Century and then went out in a blaze of glory with the Last Stand tour, which at the time was easily the biggest by an Australian band. To that point, they'd sold almost 1 million albums. By the time they regrouped in '98 for their last wave of summer tour and a new album, they'd sold another 2 million catalogue albums as new generations eagerly discovered their music. Jump forward to 2009. Cold Chisel regrouped for a one-off show in Sydney which drew over 50,000 fans. The experience was so overwhelming that the band secretly committed to doing its first truly national tour since 1998. They also committed to a huge, revamped overhaul of their CD catalogue and their first ever digital releases. Tragically, however, everything was put on hold when drummer Steve Prestwich passed away in January this year. After much soul-searching, the band decided to see through the plans the five of them had hatched together. As a result, today sees the culmination of part one of those plans, with the biggest and most unique catalogue relaunch in Australian music history, and the digital release of Cold Chisel's catalogue for the very first time, including a mountain of rare collectible audio. But wait, there's more. Today, we're also here to announce that Cold Chisel will be undertaking an extensive tour of Australia and New Zealand in October and November this year. The title, Light the Nitro. A nitro engine is the highest performing, most combustible engine you can have in a hot rod. Sound like any band you know? So, to tell you more about it, please welcome Jimmy Barnes, Ian Moss, Phil Small and Don Walker. Ladies and gentlemen, Cold Chisel are back.